Good evening, good evening, good evening. Um, it is my duty today to come to you guys just to talk a little bit about self love and self care, also self preservation, preservation. And we'll start with self love. I just felt like this has been a piece that I've probably practiced over 2 years ago diligently. And when I talk about diligently, I mean every day. I made up in my mind that I really didn't understand how to really love others because I really didn't understand self love. Now, to the best of our abilities, without knowing, we think that we know without a shadow of a doubt how to love other people just because we were taught to do so. Okay? But that's not necessarily true, and I'll tell you why. Because self love is to love yourself, and to love others is to not be judgmental. But for some reason, we have all of this twisted. We set limits and guidelines as to how much we'll take or how far we'll go, and we judge others, and we tend not at times to see the greater picture because of our own selfish needs and desires, or we may see ourselves in that person, and what turns us off about ourselves causes us not to like that person. We never ever really master love. So I don't ask people to make sure or to focus on loving others, but to love yourself. Because if you love yourself, you'll understand that there's nothing outside of you. We're all connected, okay? You're not separate from anything. All right, and so when we talk about self love, there cannot be self love unless there's self care. And what am I saying when I talk about self care here? We're more conditioned, or we're more influenced to make sure everybody around us be okay. And it's us that's left to suffer with whatever is left. And that's ass backwards. It's impossible to have a basket and you're operating at a half full capacity, but you're constantly giving out of that basket, knowing that there's a time, or you may already be operating in a deficit, but there's a time when you may get low and need someone, and all of those people that you pull from your basket for is nowhere around. Immediately you begin to be irritated and frustrated, and you want to cut the world off. It's not their fault. It's not their fault, because as far as they know, you were just giving. They didn't see the deficit, and some may have and just didn't care, because this world is about receiving. Okay, so self-care warrants us to invest in ourselves, even down to the smallest detail. Washing our face daily, brushing our teeth. Sometimes we're in such a slump that we don't even care about maintaining our daily habits. We may feel like we're pressured. The weight of the world is on our shoulders to the point where we just didn't want to get out of bed, let alone brush your teeth and wash your face. It's a struggle. All of that is a part of self-care, and you have to commit to yourself that you will not put yourself on the back burner in no shape, form, or fashion. No matter what you're feeling like, you owe it to yourself to push yourself into greatness. Okay? So self love is the foundation for 7 things here, 7 steps. The first one, self-care. Set your priorities. Change your mentality. Remember that comparison is the thief of all joy. And I'll elaborate on these shortly. Be gentle to yourself. Know your worth. And lastly, invest in yourself. You're your greatest and biggest investment. So when I talked about self-love, I was just playing through my mind, in meditation and all. I'm thinking self-love is about not judging yourself. You know your life. I'm sorry, guys. I got some strings sticking out that light showing me all these imperfections. but I love myself. In your life, you know your story. You know it to a point that no one else knows it like you. Okay? But you begin to not judge yourself over your imperfections, nor do you punish yourself for your mistakes. Some of us are still living under the guilt of what we did in the past. There's nothing we can do about changing the past. It's gone. It's history. It is no more. And if anybody holds your past over your head, then that's simply because they choose to, and that's their problem, not yours. Okay? Be sure to release yourself. So that's a part of self-love, is to release yourself inwardly. And in the beginning of my earthquake, the beginning of my self-love journey, I just gave myself permission to be free, just to simply be free. Again, you know your story, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. Be proud of who you are and not ashamed of how you love yourself. Don't feel ashamed because you feel like, though you may have a life of stealing, cheating, fornication in the religious mindsets, adultery, or prostitution, whatever your past was, that was your past. And you loving yourself, you should not feel guilty, because nobody's going to save you but you. You don't have any explanations to give out to anyone. You owe nobody any explanation as to how you treat yourself. This is a journey that nobody can go along with you, but people can watch from afar. We all can watch the journey, but we're not walking your journey, and we're seeing things totally different. And self-validation. You have to validate yourself. If you're looking for anybody else to pat you on your back and say what a wonderful job you're doing in self-love, you'll be looking forever. It just doesn't happen anymore. As a matter of fact, people will begin to call you selfish and a lot of other stuff. And I think I did a post not long ago. I said, hey, to the effect of, don't call me selfish. I'm just doing soul work. And when you're doing soul work, it requires you to self-evaluate yourself, to love on yourself, to embrace your shadow self, every part of who you are and who you were and who you're gonna be. Okay? So keep that in mind. I just really feel like somebody needs this self-love piece, because you're starting a lot of things, but because you failed in the past, you've been the person to let yourself down, you feel like you'll do it again. But I'm telling you, do not fall prey to that, because it just does not happen that way. And excuse my setting, guys. My desk is over here, and it's really tiny. You see my desk there? So what I had to do was set up on my massage bed, where I have enough room to put all my books, study, and things of that nature. So it's self-care. Okay, so it's what the author says here is to avoid the inevitable burnout by taking care of number one, which is you. And what do you need to do to feel the way you want to feel every single day? So, in other words, I'll just bring this first passage home. What is it that I need to do to make me feel happy every day? In the beginning, I was more pulled toward physical things, like I needed to maybe take myself out, buy myself a book, go out and grab me something to eat, do something special for myself, go and get me a bouquet of flowers. I knew to celebrate my ancestors would be to celebrate myself. It was more tangible in the beginning. But then as I began to grow and I began to understand and kind of get the hang of things, it was me going inwardly, which I always tell people that's the beginning of self-love, is to begin to master the thoughts. And so Now for me, it's going into meditation, playing soft music, just things that sets me in the mood. Oh, morning motivations, morning motivational speakers, my mentors, putting them on, it makes me feel wonderful. But most of all, before doing that, meditation and affirmations. 60 days of doing anything becomes habit, but it takes one day to break it. So that's the first part of self-care, okay? Now, set your priorities. This author says, how do you want to feel every single day? Okay, again, what do you refer to set, right? Adjust your priorities accordingly, because they're telling you to reference that same question earlier when we talked about what do you need to do to make yourself feel wonderful every day. But this talks about adjusting your priorities. So whereas you may not have any type of schedule that you've been on, but you may be the person that goes to work, pick up the neighbor's child, grocery shop for your grandmother, or come home, cook for everybody, clean your house, do your schoolwork, finish up your job from home, and you're tired and off to bed. If you'll notice, you do not have a place in your schedule. From the moment you get up, you clock in, to picking up the neighbor's child from school, taking grandma's groceries, picking up things to go home and cook, cleaning the house, and then finishing up your work from your job, your 9 to 5. Leaves you no time for you. So this is like a thief and a robber, because your priorities are set for everybody else but not yourself. So this rings a bell to, at night, get a planner. If you don't already have one, go purchase one. Get a planner. Write down things to do. Put yourself in your schedule, and I prefer being number one, morning meditation, where you get to know who you are, your purpose, all the answers that you have, you'll find within in meditation. After meditation, you'll make time while you're brushing your teeth and washing your face to tell yourself how wonderful you are and how great you're going to be and how you'll create your day and how many lives you're going to touch. I would do that next. Then clock in at 9. Sorry, guys. It's time for meditation. I have to breathe. Thank you. I'm just embracing the now moment. And that's priority. Okay, so you'll write on your planner. If you don't have one, go out and purchase one. You can get them at the dollar store. But make yourself priority. Put your 9 to 5. Put everybody else in the schedule. Some things you do not have to burden yourself with. If these people did not have you, who would they actually use, or who would they actually be calling upon? When you're available and you want to do it, fine. But when you can't do it, don't feel stretched or pulled to do it. Your soul, your spirit will tell you when enough is enough, because you either begin to be aggravated or you actually feel drained. If you are draining in a situation, pull yourself away from it. Because if you prolong it, it's just a matter of time that things will begin to fuse. And you do not want that. That's the wrong time. It's always too late when you get to that point. All of this could be avoided when you listen to your intuition and you listen to your body. your spirit, your soul, because it speaks, okay? Change your mentality, okay? Things like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm broke. My eyelashes aren't long enough. My hair is thinning. Those are just things that, or, what would I do if it wasn't something bad happen every day? Because this is just the usual. The mentality has to change. Your mentality predicts your success. The moment you begin to change your mentality about anything, even your relationship. I was speaking with someone and we were talking, and I was saying, now we've talked about all the negative things, but what about what's really positive? Let's take those 3 positive things and let's see if we can build on them. Because when you're in a certain feeling, all you see is negativity. If you haven't controlled those thoughts or your mind, all you see is negativity about the person, which will make you forget everything that you ever loved them for. And it's time to evaluate, do a self-evaluation. Why am I being pulled and swayed into these type of situations? Knowing that you know what type of person you were getting involved with, how did you get here? It's time to take accountability and responsibility. But if you do not do either of the two, you'll find yourself in the same situation every time. Now, your mouth, your tongue is going to build you a house or tear the one you have built down. It's really that simple. It's that simple. So what I heard through one of my mentors, because I'm listening, I'm a student, okay, is that instead of speaking those things out of your mouth, write them on paper. What I'm feeling, write it on paper, and what it shall be, write it on paper. Because now you're declaring, it's in stone. Write the vision, make it plain, okay? So instead of pushing this out of your mouth, creating vibrations that you cannot pull back. Because once you release it, once it's spoken, the spell is spoken, it has momentum. Okay? So, the next one, oh geez, hold on. Yeah, so the next one talks about, remember the comparison is a thief of all joy. When you begin to when you begin to compare yourself to anybody outside of you, you're stealing from yourself. There is no competition but for you against yourself. You're competing with yourself, your old self, being greater than you were the day before. Now, there's nobody that I want to be like. Though a lot of people inspire me, and a lot of times they don't even know it. I can just go on their page if I want to get some energy, some really good optimistic energy going, and I could go on their YouTube and I could listen to them. I'm inspired, or they may light a fire under me. But never ever do I want to walk in their shoes. I'm only in competition with me, so I'm not taking anything from myself. Okay, I'm holding myself to another standard, a higher standard. That's all. So be mindful as to who you're comparing yourself to. Oh, she reads cards better than me, or she's been doing, spiritual work for 3 years and she has 2 followers, and I've been doing it for 1 year and I have 20,000 followers. You're robbing yourself. You're comparing yourself to others. There is no comparison. This person is uniquely on their journey, in which you should be celebrating at all costs if they're doing the right thing, and there's you. Have your own momentum, create your own vibrations, and it's totally left up to you if you'll be successful. Okay? So be careful not to compare. It says here, and joy is like a super crucial ingredient in self-love in self-love recipe. Quit comparing yourself to strangers on the internet. Wow. We just talked about that. Quit comparing your accomplishments to your best friends. Oh, she got married in 2017 and she had a courthouse wedding. And, you know, I got married in 2014 and we did it big. Quit comparing your downward dog to the chick on the yoga mat next to yours. So you're in a pose, you know what the downward dog is, right? And you're looking at the person beside you she's striking a yoga pose, and you're comparing your pose, who's greater, who has more stamina. I mean, get over it. Focus on you. Focus. Okay? Quit comparing your journey to anyone else's in the entire world. Your journey is just that, yours. It's time to take joy in it. Okay? Begin to be very grateful. This is my journey. It's so unique. There's nobody else in this universe like me. And for that reason alone, I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to get up and I'm going to create on purpose. And I'm going to fulfill my assignment. So it's very important that we have that. But in all of those things, you got to be gentle. You got to be gentle. Some of you guys in this comparing thing, making comparisons, you're really hard on yourself. Do not be. Do not be. Every day is an accomplishment. If you're breathing and if you've created anything, it's an accomplishment. The mere fact that you're breathing lets me know you're still great. Okay? But be gentle with yourself and let yourself know it's time now to embrace a new beginning. We've been this way for 45 years, for 50 years, for 17 years, for 20 years, for 29 years, for 33, for 38. But now I'm expecting something great. I'm going to be very patient and kind, and I'm going to move in and with compassion. For who? Me. So it's kind of like you just got to have tunnel vision, and you got to have a Damascus in the religious world or wilderness moment or mountaintop. So this is a road when you come to your own awakening, when you're by yourself. Nobody has to be with you. This is something that'll happen for you. Now, you may call your friends and tell your friends, oh, I had to, such and such happened to me the other day, and this is what was going on, and I just didn't. And those people are like, yeah, really? Well, what happened? But guess what? They really can't feel you. And for those that have gone through it, they may know what you're talking about, but the feeling that you have, they can't feel because you are uniquely you, right? Very beautiful. Know your worth. You're worth more than gold. This writer says here, I attach my worth to inanimate objects. I attach my worth to my creative output. I attach my worth to my resume and professional accomplishment. I attach my worth to the size of my jeans and the number of likes I get on an Instagram photo. I attach my worth to things that have nothing to do with my worth. And that's what some of us do. We're no more than those 1,000 or 200 likes that we get on a daily basis. And if we don't get them, we'll fold up and we'll cry and think nobody likes me. What has happened? This post is not getting much feed. This one did. What did I do wrong? You're all over the place. But when you know that you know that you know, and you know you're on time and you're on purpose, You could make one statement and it get one like, and you're okay with that. Because what you spoke was what unctioned you in spirit to put into the universe, and it's solid. It's a solid statement. Now, whether they get it today or whether they get it next year, it's okay, because it'll come back. I can promise you that. And whether that one person take it and spread it to a whole neighborhood, or maybe be a heavy influencer on another social media network, and that one person that liked your post can tell millions, and your word has vibrated all across the world. But that's okay. 1, 10,000, you're okay with it, because you know that you're on time and on purpose, and you know your worth. Okay, so that was very well put. I like this. My self-worth cannot be negotiated. So you can't come and negotiate me, tell me, oh, you need to do that. No, that's not good enough. Why don't you try to do this? No, you don't settle, okay? My self-worth is not dependent on any variables or factors, just like what I just stated, the same thing. All right? My self-worth comes solely from within me. It's everything within you. That's why I say you have to start in a very quiet place. You're on the mountaintop, in the wilderness, Damascus moment. All of those were moments where you had nobody but yourself to look at, And lastly, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. So a lot of times we think that, I got, time, and I got a little free time. I think I'll go down and feed the hungry. Okay, very beautiful, very beautiful, very beautiful. But what about the last time you actually spent time on yourself, went to the bookstore, wrote a business plan, your study, putting out and never getting anything back? You got to kind of switch it. This week, invest in yourself. Next week, invest in yourself. If you have something extra, go down to the food pantry and help. Okay? But you got to make sure, as we stated in number 1, to care for you first, okay? And then lastly, to protect yourself. Says self-preservation. So preservation. So you got to make sure, and I have trouble saying that word for some odd reason. I don't know why. But you got to start protecting you. You know what I mean? Because you have all these guards up, saying, okay, I was in a bad relationship. I have a prospect of love, but I can't let him in because he might do what so and so did to me. There's a greater way to protect yourself rather than basing it on a past relationship. Okay? Now, how would you know if that person's motive was that of your ex-boyfriend's? First of all, you're changing vibrations. That's self-preservation. Then you're also you're changing vibrations, but you're also meditating. That's one way to change your vibrations. You're self-evaluating. You're looking at yourself, taking accountability and responsibility, saying you're mirroring yourself. As you know yourself, you begin to know and see others. So you're not going to attract that kind of situation again if you know yourself in silence, okay, in meditation. So to me, that's a way to protect yourself, okay, and not putting yourself out here in harm's way. It's just that simple. If you're practicing self-love, you got to make sure you protect yourself. Because when you do, understand what self-love does. So, for those of you that read tarot, self-love, we talk about the cups. Okay, the suit of cups, which represents emotions and relationships. And you'll see the chalice with the water overflowing out the chalice on both sides. And that's really demonstrating love, okay? And you're the cup. So the love exudes out of you and it goes into the universe. Now you're going to be attracting people with low self-esteem, because they're going to see your light. You're going to be shining, and just different kind of people. But when they come, because you've been in meditation, because you so love yourself, you have guidelines and, you know, what is it? You have guidelines and borders, you know, where I can only allow this to come this way and that to come this way, or your guards up. You'll know, do I waste time with this, or do I shake my head and say no? And not because they could be bad people, but it's just not the season or the time to deal with it. But just remember, love draws love. And people are going to be drawn to you. All kind of people. You're going to be like, oh, shit, I didn't know so many people could, you know, be out in the world today admiring such beautiful person. But they think it's the face or the body or whatever, but it's really your aura that's pulling people. And that's what self-love does. So that's my self-love piece. I don't want to hold you guys. It's actually about time for me to wrap it up here and shut things down for our work day. I will be at the office later on today because some of you guys, a few of you guys, actually purchased the book, and I'm writing very diligently. I have it all over here, my books. So I'm going to be working in the office a little bit late tonight, but wanted to also remind you guys that we have a, this week only I'll be doing 10-minute at no charge consultations. So if you're interested in scheduling one, please call 678-545-3550. I think. If that number is wrong, go in my inbox and we can schedule you. 10 minutes only, and book your appointment. I'll call you and we'll get the ball rolling just to give you some spiritual directions, and that's at no charge. Also, very, 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 very beautiful retreat, the Green Corn Moon. That's going to be in August. I have some people that are working on things for us. Guys, it is going to be amazing. And if I'm not mistaken, I only have room for like 5 other people. So, 5 ladies, men, whatever, if you're out there and you're interested, please contact us at your earliest convenience. We want to make sure that we get you in. It's going to be a very beautiful time. Ladies, gentlemen, will be there on a Friday all the way to a Sunday, and we're going to be enjoying each other's company. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to get involved. We're going to heal. We're going to go in the spirit and celebrate our ancestors, the light team. We're going to eat. We're going to dance. We're going to have workshops. We're going to give gifts. Okay, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a shift in your life. Many of you will change vibrations. Many of you, your lives will never be the same. I'm really excited about it. I don't have much time to advertise it because between the 6 businesses that I have, I'm really focusing on the 2 and getting things going. I know Source is sending me some valuable souls to assist. I'm patiently waiting. And whenever I post, if you know you're that person, please come with an honest heart, because what you do for Source and the ancestors when you're helping me, okay? And why do I say that? Because they're orchestrating this. I'm just a conduit. Everything that you see, everything that you witness, it is all Source, the light team, the ancestors. Again, when I opened my wellness center, it was for me to give back to my ancestors, the business to heal and to meet people on a soul level and speak to you as far as I can see. You know, and when I look in your eyes, Source shows me so much more past your present moment. That's why I know there's hope. I see so much further than your present moment, people, and I'm gifted to do so. I'm a different kind of person. I make no excuses for who I am and why I'm here and my timing. But what I know for certain is that I'm on time and I'm on purpose. I appreciate each one of you for checking in on me, shining your light, saying, Yafa, I'm just thinking about you. You cross my mind. That feels wonderful, because a lot of times all I see is people needing their lives to change like this. But you got to understand something. It didn't take you to get that way. And when you're at the mercy of your ancestors and source, and you have not the knowledge of who you are, okay, you will patiently wait. We cannot see the wind, but we know the trees are blowing, are moving. Okay, we can feel the wind, and that's the way it is with spirit. You may not can see spirit, but one thing for certain, two for sure, you know it's real. How? Because I'm standing here talking to you and you're listening. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Any questions about self-love, self-care, self-preservation, let me know. I'd like to enlighten you. Thank you.